like now.
Oh, we can go?
Yeah.
All right, professional. All right, welcome into this very first episode of an unnamed baseball show. We're not really sure what this is yet, but it's you got Adam at Adam Vasquez, and you got the coach at Coach Tony Miller. And more than likely, Derek. Hello, if you're watching this, also maybe Tony's wife. My wife won't watch this, but who
Hmm.
knows? Who knows who might pop by? All right, I want to get into real quick how you got into baseball, but just to give the viewer, the singular viewer, some context. So what happened was, I'm a huge Phillies fan. We'll get into that a little bit. Phillies had a controversial game last night with the Braves. I decided to choose violence this morning, go on a complete troll job, and had way more fun than I've had on Twitter in a long time. So specifically, didn't even know you were a Braves fan, and that kind of shook out. So first of all, tell us how did you become a baseball fan, or what's your experience with baseball growing up?
We moved to Atlanta in like 1989 or something like that,
Oh,
like
okay.
the late 90s. So when I say I'm a Braves fan, like that's very loosely speaking. I was a Braves fan when before everybody else jumped on the bandwagon. Like I literally sat behind home plate when Dale Murphy and Ozzie, I think that was him. They were terrible. They were absolutely like they were the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
And so that's when Dale Murphy giant cutout in my room and that kind of stuff. So, and then they started
That's cool.
winning, which was ironic because once they started winning, it kind of became not fun anymore because then
Hmm.
everybody was a Braves fan. I think that's where it kind of, as the love of a kid for watching baseball, it's more about like you love the players, and then
Yeah.
when it becomes cool, then it's not cool anymore. And so that's almost how I felt. Like, ironically, when the Braves made it to the World Series, I ended up cheering for the Cleveland Indians because my
Oh, wow.
family, because my family is from Ohio, and my grandfather was a Cleveland Indians fan, so I was cheering for the
Okay,
Indians
so
against the
family stuff.
Braves. So,
Yeah.
which is branding, marketing, and another topic, anyways.
Right,
But
right,
so
right.
that's kind of
So
how
then
it
you
all
took
started.
like a decade hiatus,
No,
and
no,
then
no, 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 no. 25 years. So
oh,
I took
okay.
25 years because as soon as the Braves won the World Series, I was still mad at the 94 strike.
Hmm.
And so I just kind of paid attention to it, but I never really talked about it. And it took an egregious call like last night to bring me back. And I had to break the silence because really I'm a champion for justice rather than just a Braves fan now. So
Right.
that's
Okay.
that's kind of how it kept going.
Fair enough. But what else brought you back into it? You were telling me earlier you had
Yeah, so
a
my
new
son
baseball
now,
experience.
obviously over the 25 years, a lot a lot happened. And I had a son, and now he's 4, and tonight was his first T-ball game. So, and ironically, the exact same play happened at home.
I
And
saw, but he was safe.
upon further review, he was safe. So I have the
So
video for
everybody
that.
wins.
Yeah.
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 Cranking that OBP. Cool. Yeah, I
Yeah.
have a similar I was pretty much baptized into being a Phillies fan. My grandfather worked for City Hall, so he played on the Mayor's team at the Vet. So I have pictures of me there when I was
Mm.
in diapers, and then the Vet got torn down, and my dad called sports radio to enter one of those contests that nobody ever wins, and he won, and then he got sick, so me and my mom went to opening day at the new
Oh,
stadium,
dirty.
which was cool. Yeah, and then '08 happened, and then it's been misery since then, kind of like all Philly sports. So
But I think that's how it works. If you're once you get to kind of the age we are, you look back, and when you're growing up and your team is awesome, you think that's going to last forever.
yeah,
And
for sure.
then you find out what being a fan actually means with like when the heartbreak happens,
Mm.
and then you really start separating the real fans from the faux fans. That's
Yeah,
like the Red Sox fans in like the early 2000s.
yeah.
Everybody was a Red Sox fan. They thought it was awesome. And then, yeah. So,
Well, they flipped from being Yankee fan. I mean, LeBron is the classic since you're a
yeah.
basketball coach, but LeBron was a Yankee fan
Yeah.
even when the Indians were playing the Yankees and he was, in Cleveland. Then he just bought part of the Red Sox. Now he's a Red Sox fan. So
Yeah.
it's just, you just follow the LeBron. He's a Cowboy fan too.
I'm really surprised
Um,
that it only took us 4 minutes to start talking about LeBron.
you
That
got to
that
get
is
it
the
in.
crazy part. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I don't know, we'll see where this goes. But I thought for this one we could just kind of sweep through some of the NL East games because at least we watched some of those. So Dodgers sweep the Nationals. Pretty boring series. We don't have to talk about that one. Marlins at the Mets. I don't know if you saw
Well, I
any of
do want to
that,
talk
but
about the Dodgers and the
oh,
Nationals.
okay, go ahead. What
Yeah.
what did you?
Well, that's where my
Oh,
graphic comes in. That's my one graphic.
just
Fernando
amazing,
Venezuela.
right?
Like this is my era. This is like I think that the real diehard baseball fans will appreciate this. Like I
I think
mean,
so too.
dude won the NL Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same year.
I can't believe you found a way to use this picture.
Six-time All-Star.
Very true.
86 Gold Glove, which that in itself is amazing. That a guy that size can be a Gold Glove winner. But Gold Glove winner, and he was one of those trading card baseball guys that like you always wanted the card, but it was also one of those where now looking back, we know that like 1 billion cards were made, so it's not really worth anything, but it only means
Right,
something to
right.
somebody who had a part of like you grew up with that. So
Yeah.
shout out for them. I will say this also with that series, that my biggest takeaway with that, like Mookie Betts not playing and Cody Bellinger not playing. So if you're and you pitch Max Scherzer and you still don't win.
Yeah, the
So
Dodgers
I
just
mean,
mash.
yeah, if you're the rest of the National League, it's not super encouraging.
I have a couple Dodgers on my fantasy team, and Max Muncy carried the whole team. He's just
Yeah.
a monster. But yeah, other than that, I agree. Will Parker, LeBron is a fan of money, first and foremost. Marlins at the Mets. They split the series. I thought the only interesting thing with this series was they canceled yesterday's game, or they postponed it, and then they decided to have it in the pouring rain. I don't know if you
Yeah.
saw any of this. They played like one inning. Marcus Stroman tried to pitch, couldn't pitch, and then they quit the game. I've never seen that happen before.
Just so we're clear, like it's the Mets who made the decision to start the game. I feel like this is one of those where
Okay.
like baseball, like fans can get mad at baseball. Like MLB is stupid. Like why would they start? They made it stupid. If you watched, there was a post game interview with Luis Rojas, and it was his decision and the Mets management to start the game. So I don't know that Stroman even knows that when you make a comment like that, he knew that he was throwing his team under the bus. Like you're throwing your own
Yeah.
manager and your own front office under the bus. But I also don't know if you just saw he's supposed to pitch the 5
Tomorrow.
days thing he was talking about. Now he's pitching tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, against the Phillies.
anyways.
Yeah, I saw. I mean, I didn't even know that, but it just rubbed me. I like him. I like Marcus Stroman. He's from Puerto Rico, or he's half Puerto Rican, whatever. And he's obviously a good player, small guy. He has that brand. Height doesn't measure heart, so he got multiple things. But this was such a, I don't know. I felt like I was watching Kyrie for some reason. Like,
Oh yeah, for sure.
don't just come out and be spouting off. Between this and then KD yesterday, and just I don't know, people. I mean, and then this podcast happening, people just are making uninformed, um, uninformed takes all the time. But yeah,
But
I don't know. It bothered me.
big time moves being made still.
For sure, for sure. Okay, so then that's all kind of like the appetizers. Let's get to the real thing. So before I know this is not going to go because I don't have any people from Philly really that are even on Twitter. So this is going to be a Braves thing for whoever sees it. I get it, and they deserve it. I just want to put on the ledger that just a week ago the Phillies swept the Braves. So I just want to point that out, and then we can move into this weekend the Braves took 2 out of 3 from the Phillies.
We should really
Which
do
I'm sure
more
you're into.
research. I want to know how many teams have swept their opening series and not made the playoffs. Or flip it around. How many teams have swept their opening weekend series and made the playoffs? Because you would prefer the first one over the second one, not the first one.
For sure. But I feel like baseball is one of those things. Here, hold on. Let me get intern. Look that up. All right, we'll get back on that in a second.
Next week.
Yeah, next week. I feel though baseball is one of those things. I mean, Drew Bayless at Drew Bayless. He's one of the smartest baseball people I know. He always says you rather win opening day and then lose the rest of the series than not in baseball, just because opening day is so important.
Sure.
But it's one of those things where the Phillies have done well in the opening series the last several years, and it's not mattered at all. So I don't think it is a huge harbinger of anything. Especially, I mean, the Braves are good. It was just a weird series for them.
Well,
But,
anyway.
anyway.
Like who you're playing too, I'm sure that has a huge deal. So when it was the Braves, it meant a whole lot more.
For the Phillies, yeah. But then this weekend, obviously, you guys Braves take 2 out of 3. I mean, I have so many notes on this, but as a fan, just what did you enjoy as a Braves fan getting to watch this?
I think that one video of the two Phillies fans like giving the baseball to the kid
Oh
for
yeah, that was
that hit
good.
the home run. That was cool. You know, I feel like baseball even more so than any other sport. There are some others where you see that kind of thing, but like for as much as I mock grown men for wearing hats, jerseys, and bringing a glove to a game, like the fact of the matter is that even that shows that baseball is like there's a part of people that never grows up, which I
Hmm.
think that's kind of why that kind of stuff happens because you could just see like giving a baseball to another kid. You want that kid to have that experience so that when he's grown and has a kid, that he ends up loving it as much as that, which I do
Right.
still feel like is one of the reasons why baseball is still America's pastime, despite what people feel about it. There's a piece of somebody's heart, which is like case in point me. When the opening day comes around, you're like, this year I'm gonna get into it.
Hmm.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and it was cool. If anybody didn't see it, it's all over Twitter. But the Phillies fan caught a Freddie Freeman home run. No, he didn't catch it. Sorry, he went to the bullpen.
Yeah,
He tried to catch it. The Braves tossed it to him. He kept dropping it. Finally got it. His dad was embarrassed of him because he's from Philly, and then it gives it to a younger Braves fan, which is pretty cool. And then this was cool too. Freddie got Bryce to sign a ball, and then he signed it, and he gave it to the kid the next day because I
that's
guess they
cool.
went to the whole series. So, yeah, that's the type of thing. I guess just like the series nature of baseball, stuff like that can happen that can't happen in other stuff. But yeah, I
I feel like
like
the
that. I
players too,
also,
like even more of the players are aware of that as well. And
oh,
even
for
in
sure.
sports like basketball, where you have after the game, guys sign shoes and throw them up, or they throw a jersey in the stands. Like most of the time, guys are throwing jerseys in the stands because they just got tossed and they're mad, so they're just throwing the
Mm,
like baseball. The guy, I mean, you see the guy throwing the baseball to the guy and to the kid in the outfield and playing catch with him to warm up and that kind of stuff. Like that doesn't happen as frequently. I feel like with other sports.
yeah, for sure. I think
So
baseball players can also take advantage of that. For instance, when I was dating my wife, we weren't married at the time. We went to a Phillies Orioles game in Cannon Yards, and there was a million Phillies fans there. Cliff Lee was pitching that day, and so a million Phillies fans asking for balls, asking for Cliff, yelling at Cliff. All dudes though. and then and then she walked up. She doesn't know anything about, or she didn't know anything about baseball. Really, still doesn't care, and just yelled and asked for a ball. I mean, 8 seconds later, she had a ball in her hands, which I still have. So,
that's
uh,
cool.
players can take advantage of it too. Yeah, I liked that moment. I also liked. I don't know if you saw the Braves fan behind home plate yelling at Bryce,
Yeah.
saying you'll never be as good as Acuna. And
Uh,
Bryce and JT just giving just a little education with the hand.
I feel like
That
though
cracked
too,
me up.
like those kinds of encounters too, like the players are more respectful of each other, even in that sport than maybe some other sports.
Oh, really?
And
Like
and
how so?
because of the time that you have in between, like being able to interact both with the fans and with the, I mean, case in point, you were talking about like Freddie Freeman. Like I haven't heard somebody say like a bad word about Freddie
Yeah.
Freeman. So I think, I'm sure that's not with every team, but just again, the camaraderie that is had even between a lot of the players.
No, for sure. Yeah. And especially dudes like Freddie or Acuna. He has this thing with Gene Segura on the Phillies, where I mean, kind of box every time he gets to second, and it's hilarious. Acuna tries to do his thing.
Yeah.
Gene gets in there and hits him. I love that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was funny. Speaking of Acuna, I mean, I'm not. Here's the funny thing about me. I actually don't hate the Braves like the players. I
Sure.
love watching the Braves play. I think their fans are hysterical too. But the Braves product is like that infield ground ball he beat out in the first inning yesterday
Yeah.
was unbelievable. I've never seen that before. He hit the
Well, I heard
ball
they said it was like a
so hard.
routine ground ball. That wasn't a routine ground ball. Like that was a hard hit ground ball.
Yeah, it was a routine play in the sense that should be an out
Yes.
every time.
Yes.
10 out of 10. And
But it wasn't
also
like
he
it
played it
wasn't
right.
yes, it wasn't a slow roller, and it wasn't to somebody who like fumbled it or whatever. Like he literally just fielded it, stood up, and threw it at pretty good speed, and it wasn't even
Yeah.
close.
I just want to note that I said one nice thing about the Braves, and I'm getting texts from Philly people. I don't even.
Tell them to stop.
There's one
Tell them
person
to
watching
stop. Yeah, they need to stop texting and start commenting.
this. Yeah, that's right. Comment into this, JV.
We like to
Uh,
publicly hear how bad he is, not privately.
I'm getting mocked for. I think the person who sent that is married to a Braves fan, so that's ironic that you're giving me problems. But anyway, yeah, that was incredible. J squared 724. If it was Bryce, that's a lie, Jeff. You know that's a lie. Bryce goes so hard
We're
every
adding that
time.
into the show. That's a great point.
Oh, how did that make it? I don't. This show is brought to you by Her Pods, as you can tell, but technically it's not. It's brought to you by Quick Timeout because I have no control over anything. Yeah, that was crazy. He's electric. I love watching him play, and you just know, with the exception of the ninth inning, every time he comes up, Acuna, I'm talking about again, who fans can't pronounce. You just know he's going to get a big hit in every spot. It's crazy. He reminds me of some of the great like Griffey types.
Yeah.
But I would love to have a guy like that.
Yeah.
But anyway. Yeah, other parts from that that series, the Phillies starting pitching is just cheeks. I mean, you were making fun earlier, but Matt Moore's grunting like
This is so unnecessary. And their grunts were coming when he was throwing like changeups. Like he threw one, and I was like, "Wow, 91!" Like he was really putting some effort into that. And then he threw an off-speed pitch and was grunting. And I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
So,
well, you don't know with him. The 80s could be his fastball. He's so bad.
True.
I don't understand how he's a starter. But yeah, that was brutal. And honestly, the whole the only reason they swept in the opening weekend was because of the rotation.
Yeah.
But this time around, 45 with Zach Wheeler and Eflin both. The Braves always hit them really well, so I wasn't really surprised. I thought we might have a chance against Smiley last night because he used to be on the Phillies and he's bad as well. But I'm familiar with how bad he is. But anyway, it was interesting to watch. All right, all of that is the prelude. Let's get to it. So give me your thoughts on the play now that you've had 24 hours to digest it.
The ironic part is everybody knew it was not what it was called. If you're going to do something like that, you can't do that in the home team stadium where it's being projected up on the board. I would have liked to have seen what would have happened if it had been in Philadelphia. Do you play that up on the replay board, or do you just like show highlights of the giveaway that's coming at the next game?
Let's just for anyone who didn't see it, recap it, I guess. So routine pop fly, shallow left field, easy play for a major league left fielder. Marcell Ozuna, strong player, crazy, gets underneath the ball, makes a throw that I think your son's T-ball game had better throws than the throw that he made in the ninth last night. Crazily short.
Did I see on the graphic that he threw it only 77 miles per hour?
I'd be shocked if he had that much juice behind it.
That's what it said in the top. And I'm thinking if your outfielder can only throw at 77 miles per hour, you probably deserve for it not to be an out at home.
Yeah, he's brutal. I mean, that was a horrendous look for Ozuna. And I see you again, Jeff. Thank you for commenting that he doesn't have a strong arm. But what is he doing in left field? Like you need a strong arm. Put him in right then, I guess. If that's the case. But anyway, yeah, he gets.
No, you want your weak arm in left field, not right field.
Yeah, I guess.
Except right field, you have to make the furthest throw. Left field's the shortest throw.
To where? To home?
To any late base play.
Yeah.
Home, it's the same, but to like third,
right?
Typically, you're a threat is there. So it does make sense.
Well, I'll just tell you,
but the fact of the matter is,
I'm not sure if he was at second base if he would make that throw home in the air without a hop. It was a horrible throw. All that being said, Alec Boehm comes flying in, just lettuce flowing. Looked great. I mean, you can't argue that. Like, he looked incredible going down third base with a swaggy play to leave when Ozuna's 10 feet behind you anyway. And then slides. It's a bang. Let me ask, in real time, it was bang, bang, right? Like, you didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one thing too when it hovers over. I've heard baseball people tell me this too, which I'm not sure if it would make this play more sense. But when you're making a play, a second base for a double play, you don't technically have to touch the base.
Yeah, I think but you have to be next to it, right? Or
yes, it's one of the
yeah.
swipes from the side,
right?
Obviously,
right.
to not prevent injuries. Apparently, the same rule was applied to home base.
My guy was swiping
in this junction. He was just swiping, hovering over whatever. It was close enough, is what the umpire made the call.
It's a brutal call. So
yeah.
That happens, and then they review it. They confirm it. He's safe. And Braves fans, I mean, you hear about a lot of different cities. You hear about New York. You hear about Boston. You hear about some people occasionally in Philadelphia. But Atlanta fans throwing garbage, yelling obscenities, from what I heard, onto the field. Who knows what else happened? And yeah, it was a really ugly scene. Dansby Swanson had to come out and make a statement afterwards. But
I had to stop for a second because I thought it was at Philadelphia because of what was happening. Well, it was really loud. It sounded like there were like 40,000 people in there. And I think there were like 17,000.
I'll give it that, because 17,000 I thought was the max that stadium could hold based on attendance pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Braves fans don't go to baseball games. So yeah. I just thought that's as many people could go to that stadium. But it was loud yesterday. And when it happened, you might have thought it was in Philadelphia, because immediately the announcers, A-Rod and whoever it was, start saying like, oh, well, they're used to this. It's just like Philly. I mean, how did Philly take ricochet shots in this? It's happening in Atlanta right now.
It was great. The other problem is that when you make a play like that and the manager and the rest of the other team is at ground level, he said that he thought it was, and then again, you have it up on the big screen,
right?
And it's sent off. I should be more familiar with this. Is the play reviewed by MLB in the stadium? Or is it reviewed at somewhere else?
I believe so. Yeah,
it's reviewed somewhere else and then
called are not reviewing it. The umpires are just listening or whatever to.
Right, and that's being made somewhere else.
The league, yeah.
Which begs the question: what kind of internet connection? I mean, it could have been like what we had before we got on here.
Yeah,
like it was just the weather was bad and they couldn't see it very well, and they were just like, "We're just gonna make a call."
It's been a horrible weekend for the umpires altogether. Obviously, we went through a bunch of different games, but there was that game. There was the day before the double off the top of the wall, not in our series. I can't remember which series that even was, where they called it a double. It was clearly a home run. And then the Mets game last Friday, I think it was, where Conforto like clearly leans into that pitch and gets a walk-off hit by pitch to end the game. So, yeah, I don't know how they do it. They need to take some notes from the NFL, or whoever, I guess, when it comes to replay. But yeah, that was rough.
I'm putting a poll right now on Twitter. How do you feel about instant replay? You dislike it or you hate it? Which one people are going to vote for on that one? So we'll put that up and see how that does. Yeah. I would venture to say hate it. So, all right. Can we move on from this? The best thing to do is just forget it, because there's nothing you can do now. So let me put you on the spot with this. So I'm going to NL East predictions. I know everyone does predictions before the season starts, but I think that's dumb. It's just like the preseason polls for college basketball or college football. It makes no sense. So now that you have about 8 or 9 games, what are your NL East predictions?
Like who's going to win it?
Yeah.
I mean, the Braves are going to win it, I think.
I think
what's that?
No shot for the Mets or the Phillies?
The Mets. I think the Mets are garbage. I hate the Mets.
Most people have picked the Mets. Vegas had the Mets second in the odds.
Yeah, but that's just because they're just hooking New Yorkers in and trying to get them to give part with their hard-earned money in bets. I mean, the Mets are the Mets. It doesn't matter who they add, what they do differently. They're still the Mets. They still do the same nonsense every single year. And honestly, I'm not sure. I mean, I think their lineup's okay, but they don't have the firepower the Braves have. And I'm not even happy saying that. Like I dislike both of them. But the Braves, when they're right, the Mets don't have a player that can, equal Acuna singularly, but they don't have anything that can match that lineup. And then the Braves just find starting pitching. Like Soroka's coming back. I think Fried will straighten out. So I think they'll win the division. I do think the Phillies will make the playoffs, which is an unpopular opinion, but I think it'll be as the first or second wild card.
Do you think the Braves have a shot at? Will they win the first round? Will somebody from the East win the first round?
Yes, the East is great. I mean, the East is. If you compare the East to like the Central this year, the Cubs are kind of not great right now. The Pirates are horrible. The Cardinals are gonna have to find their way. The Reds are good right now, but who knows? Like the East is really, really strong. I think, even though I'm giving them a hard time, the Mets, the Braves, the Phillies, the Nats, you can't count out because of the. Derek, I was just saying what you said to me. The Nats have that rotation, and they've done it before. So I think the East is really, really strong, but somebody will make it past the first round for sure.
And then you're picking the Dodgers to represent the National League.
I picked the Braves last year, and I was wrong, barely.
Close.
Gladly wrong. I don't know. I haven't thought about this much. Like without thinking about it too much, I almost wanted to just say the Braves again because everybody's saying the Dodgers, but I'm not going to do that because I've already been accused of being a Braves sympathizer, which is crazy. So
after this episode, it kind of sounds accurate. All right, so you got the Braves. Then you said no. After that, Phillies.
I mean, I'm just being. I don't want that to happen. I just, I think they're a good team.
Sure. All right. Next up, you got next up.
Me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Next up.
First of all, great rundown. Very high quality production here. No, I would just say we've got the Mets. We've got a doubleheader tomorrow. Marlins and Braves now. I don't know what's going on. Braves are winning 3-1, so that's good for them. Marlins look tough. They're having a rough start. And then Nationals are beating the Cardinals. So those are the next couple series for the NL East. I don't know what we're going to do with this. We'll see. This is fun, though. I'm glad we did. The reason this happened is because Tony and I were bickering via text and about to call each other names. And so instead of doing that, we decided to resolve this like adults and come on the internet and talk about things like people do. And JB, thank you for
the update. Way less fun.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for the update about Joel. How bad did the Cardinals suck? Now we're getting the chat right as soon as we end.
Everybody's ready to get into this now.
Yeah. This is good. Bring it back next time. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what we do with this. And also, maybe we need to do a poll at some point about a name.
Yeah, we need a name for the show. Now that we finally have more than 5 people watching this, I feel like we should maybe start over. Let's go ahead and start from the very beginning again and go back through this now that people are actually involved in this. I think these kind of take some time for people to understand, like, what's going on here. And then they start writing into things. So maybe next time we'll just tell some old Little League stories for about the first 15, 20 minutes. Okay. And we'll really get into the meat of things. Right. But we do need a name. I think we should propose some things. I'm all for straight dingers. That one was one of my favorites. Yes. I like the other one too, but I'm not sure if it's
the options were I'm trying to pull it up. Okay, straight dingers. I don't know why that one makes me giggle every time. Dingers only. Chicks dig the long ball. What else do we have?
Yeah, you don't like that one though because that was Braves origination.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't a Braves podcast. I won't allow this to be a Braves show. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, but sports, you just talk about who the best team is, and so it's probably going to turn into a Braves podcast.
We'll see. Miss the Plate, which is, I think that's the name of this episode, right? How are we 10 viewers? Why? That's just crazy to me. I hate baseball.
Word's getting out right now.
I hate baseball. Might be a good one.
I hate baseball.
Yeah, that might be a good one. Well, I don't know. We'll have to kick it around. If anybody has any name suggestions,
reply to this over the course of the next 3 or 4 days because I feel like it's really going to kind of hit its peak here once people find this. So reply to this what you want it to be called, and what a terrible call.
Coming in hot with it.
I like that one. I like that one. Wing Green going with what a terrible call.
Also, Coach Wing Green, thank you for the login because I think I'm using your login right now, so appreciate it. Yeah. All right, this is good. Thanks, Tone.
Yeah, appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you again next time, even though we don't really know when that is or if that's really going to be a next time. But if we do, then we'll see you again next time.